here we are, and this is my favorite week in football of the entire year. It's the biggest week. Everybody's been talking about it for months. Of course, I'm referring to
Deer Creek Week.
Deer Creek Week, not OU Texas.
That's right.
So OU Texas, Deer Creek. A lot of great football coming up at Deer Creek
Absolutely.
Week. You know, before we get to Deer Creek, let's go ahead and talk about Capitol Hill.
Yeah, Capitol Hill. Really proud of our guys handled that game. You know, it's really difficult sometimes to play a game, like that, where sometimes you can, maybe not play to the best of your ability. And I felt like our kids came out and just gave great effort on, all three sides of the ball. And, kids just continued to, do what we did and what we consistently do without, worrying about who the opponent was. So I was actually very pleased with our kids' effort level, very pleased with our overall execution, all those things. Our kids played well on offense, defense, special teams. The effort level, like I said, was really, really good. I thought they handled themselves very well, played hard. But also, showed a lot of respect for Capitol Hill, and so I was really impressed with our kids.
I was really happy with it as well. Of course, the score was really high, but I could tell that you were trying not to run up the score. I think every single person in uniform out there for a little bit.
Yeah, I try to do that. And it's difficult to manage those games sometimes. They started running the clock in the first quarter. And so it's had a running clock in the first quarter. Of play, and so when you do that, obviously your goal is to try to get everybody in, but you're also trying to stay consistent with your starters, where those guys can keep their timing down and all the things that we need to be able to do to play in a very difficult 6A district. And so obviously the goal is not to embarrass anyone or run up a score or anything like that. But with that said, when we put our junior varsity out there, or guys that maybe backup guys on junior varsity, like that's their time to shine too. And I want those guys to be able to play Friday night games and be able to execute, and I'm not going to tell them not to try their hardest. And so right. I was proud of our kids and the way that they handled it. Again, those are kind of difficult to manage sometimes, and I felt like our kids and coaching staff did a good job.
Okay, I don't want to just talk a whole bunch about it, but I actually was very impressed with Capitol Hill. They came out. They ran plays. Yep. They executed their plays to the best of their ability.
Right.
But the people were in the right position. We just beat them.
Yeah.
A lot of times. So I saw improvement with Capitol Hill this year over last year.
Yes, I agree.
And so I just really want to compliment the coaches and the players for working hard. And
we've mentioned this from this program before, but it's really difficult to do. You go and you come out football, you go to practice every day just like we do. You work hard just like we do. You watch film just like we do. When you know that the outcome is probably not favorable, on most nights, and those guys continue to do that. So I have just a tremendous amount of respect for their kids, their coaches, their program. I think that takes a lot of courage and a lot of toughness to do what they do each and every night. And like I said, my hat's off to Capitol Hill and their coaches, and I thought they did a fantastic job.
All right. Let's go ahead and go to the offensive player of the game.
Yeah, offensive player of the game, a little bit different than usual. Thought our offensive line played really, really well. And so, a guy that averaged almost a pancake a play was Mason Tyler. And so our left tackle just had a tremendous night. And, it's really tough to be an offensive lineman. A lot of times you don't get a whole lot of credit. But Mason just really played lights out. Just had tremendous effort each and every snap. So I couldn't be more proud of him. So Mason Tyler was our offensive player of the week.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
I went in a different direction.
Who did you have?
Titus Hawk.
Oh yeah, he came in and just thrown BBs. Yeah, absolutely. Titus did a fantastic job.
I think he had 3 series. The first 3 series he got out there, he threw for a touchdown. He ran for a touchdown and threw a touchdown.
First pass was a strike to Cam Ramos. Was Cam's first touchdown of the season. Really happy for both those guys to be able to do it. And so, and that's really what you want. You want like there to be no drop off. No matter who you're playing, who you have in there, you want, the standard is a standard, the gold standard is a standard, and you want that each and every rep of whoever's in there. And I felt like our kids did that, and Titus leading the way. So I could have gone with that one too. Titus did a great job.
But I'm glad we picked an offensive lineman. I'm just so excited, and I said this before, just to see where the program's heading.
Right.
And I see that every year, and it's, at the end of the year, it's easy to go, oh, whoa, we're losing all this. But this is kind of the games where like, yeah, we're going to lose some stuff at the end of this year, but we got athletes coming up. We got guys coming up. And it's just an exciting time to be a Yellow Jacket, and so these games highlight what's coming up and the future, and not just where we're at, but the future. So it's a great place to be. Let's go defensive player of the game.
Yeah, defense. We actually went co because we do that. It's actually a little more I guess scientific, if you will, on the defensive side because we actually have production charts and stuff like that, and then we do it by snaps and all those things. So there's 2 guys at the top, and so we did co. And it was Travis Elliott and Rashid Arnett. And if you watch the game, Travis obviously had a touchdown, a pick 6 for a touchdown. Rashid is in on just countless sacks and quarterback hurries and tackles for losses and just really really productive nights for both those guys. So it's cool to see. So it's difficult to choose between one of those guys. So we went co, and you couldn't have gone wrong either way.
And it was difficult for me to choose anybody because there's people in there. Everybody was executing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's when you're faster and stronger than the man against you, it's easier to win, and that's
sure.
We saw a lot of those matchups.
Well, with that said, it's difficult, and again, I don't want to give anybody any bulletin board material or anything, but guys, I'm telling you, it's hard to execute, as well as I felt like the defense did on air.
Yes.
We had minus 68 total yards of offense.
Yeah.
And that's tough to do. Whether because at some point you're gonna misfit a gap or miss a tackle or something like that. And I felt like regardless again of opponent, I felt like our defense really executed well. And they did so through tremendous effort. And I'm aware of the opponent and all those things. But again, all you can do is go as hard as you can and execute well. And again, I felt like our kids did that.
Well, and that's why I'm kind of going the whole defense is my player of the game. And this is what I measured it on. They pitched a shutout.
Right.
The number of penalties were very, very limited.
Right.
And some of the excessive penalties, I think they were trying to stop the effort of our kids. And they do what they do, and I'm not going to complain about the referees on that because, again, the scoreboard was not in doubt. But I really felt that they played a clean game where they could have got
really clean.
They could have got just undisciplined, out of control. And so I felt the whole defense from first string to last string went out there and played with discipline and did their jobs. And so,
absolutely.
So I copped out with the whole defense. But
yeah, no, they did great. You wouldn't have been wrong. They did a really, really good job.
All right. I think that's enough about Capitol Hill. Let's talk about preparation for Deer Creek. Who are those scout players of the week that really helped us mimic Deer Creek?
Yeah, scout players of the week. A week ago, those guys just do a great job, kind of unsung heroes. Each and every week. And help us continue just to get better and better. And a guy that does a great job on Monday nights, that's willing to step in all the time. Regardless, is a guy named Mikey Sims, and Mikey's always a smile on his face, always great personality, always bring positive energy, plays special teams for us, shows out on Mondays, future star. He's always willing to run the opposition's plays on both offense and defense. So Mikey Sims, one of the offensive scout team player of the week or attack team player of the week, and then defensively was Dion Williams. Dion Williams, again, future star, just works hard, starting to figure it out, and gave the offense a really, really good look. And again, people don't understand how valuable having those guys in your program are, because those guys, you're trying to simulate what a Friday night can be, and really the only way you can do that is to try to get someone that's caliber to try to simulate that. And so like most teams do, we'll have a person on our team will simulate a certain person on their team and how they line up and mannerisms and move and blitz or whatever it may be, and those guys do a tremendous job of that. And also I want to Phil mention our special teams player of the week was Jonathan Miles. And he's one that came down with a lot of those high onsides, made a lot of big hits, first the ball out on a kickoff. Did a really good job as well. So those are all our players of the week.
All right. Preparing for Deer Creek.
Yes.
How I prepare for Deer Creek is I just read the newspaper, right? And the news is going to be out, or it's going to be the game of the week. It's going to be everybody with a camera or radio station is going to be out there, because this is what they're predicting to be 1 and 2 on the west side, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you got to take care of business. I've been in this business long enough to where you don't say that, and don't think that, because all you're trying to do is just go win this game, and then win the next game. But yeah, I mean, we're fully aware that Deer Creek's extremely talented. Finished second in our district a year ago. Lost a really close one to Stillwater in the semifinals a year ago. Very loaded. Led by their quarterback, junior quarterback. I think has to be one of the top quarterbacks in the state of Oklahoma. A really, really tough kid. Makes things happen with his feet and his arm. Always makes good decisions. Very, very, very rarely turns the ball over. Don't know if he has one on the season so far this year. The guy just is an absolute machine. And their offense is just loaded skill-wise. Offensive line is big and physical. Move the ball well. They're a very attacking offense, no huddle, quick tempo, can put up points in a hurry. And then defensively, they'll run a 3-safety defense, which is kind of interesting, which, they're going to kind of limit bleeding on defense. Pitched a shutout a week ago against PCO. And they just really, are very good tacklers. They're very disciplined, very sound, do a really good job of making you snap the ball again and again and again. To the average fan, that may not sound like that's that big of a deal, but, just law of averages is the more that you snap the ball, the more chance that you're going to make a mistake. You're going to get a holding penalty. You're going to get, jump off sides. You're going to get some type of procedural, or maybe you're going to miss a block and now it's a -3, or whatever puts you behind the chains. And they do a really good job of that on defense. Of just continually make you snap the ball. They're not a high pressure defense. They're going to try to get to you with 4, but do a really good job. Their defense coordinator, Steve Neal's buddy of mine, does a really, really good job. Coached them at Union High School many years ago. I think that they just do a really good job. And so there's a reason why it's the game of the week. Deer Creek's definitely earned that. And we're hoping to, be able to kind of show out and piece together a game. And like I always say in these tough ones, if we can win by 1 point, we'll be happy. So.
Well, good, yeah. And it's away, so
yeah,
it's an enemy territory.
That's right.
So I'm glad you mentioned the quarterbacks. That's all I hear about.
He's really
quarterback dual threat. He's the real deal.
He is.
Of course, when you talk about being the real deal, in the West Side right now, it's kind of feast or famine a lot of times. Where this is going to be our first true test.
Right.
I feel our first true test on who we are and what we are. Win or lose, it's not going to affect our overall outcome. It just might make us hungry. We're still in line to make the playoffs. Like this is not like a college football kind of situation. You lose one game. Of course, I don't want to lose one game.
No,
I want to win this game. This could decide district, and again, back-to-back district champions would be fun for me to talk about. I'm sure.
Sounds
it'd be fun
nice to say. Yeah, I like hearing that.
Of course, I'm more worried about the media side of things, and you're more worried about week to week. But I'm super excited. There's not a lot to say other than the first thing we're gonna say when we start the game is like the key to the game for us is who makes the most mistakes.
Right.
Because look, player.
You don't want to make the most mistakes.
You don't, no. but player to player,
right.
There's going to be some mismatches.
No,
but overall, they got some dudes. We got some dudes.
Absolutely.
And it's whichever dudes execute.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what. And then of course the ball bounces funny sometimes.
Right.
You can't control that, but you can control a mistake. So that's what I'm looking forward to see. I'm looking forward to see this team gets more and more disciplined as we go.
Yeah.
I think everybody recognizes you and the coaching staff has just really got them, really emphasized the D in gold, right?
Right, absolutely, and it's a really good group of kids. It's easy. They are very, compliant. They're a very hardworking group of kids. Like they recognize the use and what practice means. Like they like to practice. You're not trying to prod them to practice. They want to get better. They want to work on their craft. They want to do, the same movement 10,000 times. And they don't get bored with doing the small things, which is a key to victory. And I think that's really tough. So they're a very special group of kids, and will be regardless of outcome. They're very, very fun to coach. This 23 team is just, an absolute, dream. And so, they are a very disciplined group of kids. They're disciplined on the field, off the field, do a great job in the classroom, and just a really, really special group of young men that's a lot of fun. And so, I tell them, regardless of outcomes all the time, these guys are champions. They show it all the time. They showed it obviously early, in the year under, tragic circumstances, and just continue to. And so, been really impressed with these guys. And our first goal every year is to win a district title. That's our first goal. That gives you a number one seed in playoffs, going in, gives you a first round bye, gives you a better, chance of advancing and ultimately hopefully winning a state championship, which is obviously the goal. But, everybody wants to win a state championship, but to do that, you need to hit all these little measurables along the way. And as you mentioned, this is our first big one. We don't have a huge body of work to really know, hey, this is who we are. We've played 3 games. You know, and our starters, you know, have only played through one of those games.
Right,
you know?
right.
So we've pulled starters in 2 of those, and so you know this will be our first true test, and so we'll get to kind of highlight and see, you know, who we are. You know, I know regardless of outcomes, win or lose, there's a lot of things we still have to work on to get better for playoffs. But ultimately, we're trying to take that next step forward, you know, and just put one more step forward to, you know, winning our second ever district championship. You know, first one coming in 2022. And so, as you mentioned, you know, back-to-back would be really special, be really cool. And so, you know, a lot of firsts, and you know, in Choctaw football history, and you know, and our kids, that's not lost on them. They know the importance of that and the significance throughout history. You know, and they want to continue to stack those up.
All right. Well, like I said, I'm ready. I'm really excited. It's time to play some football.
Let's do it.
And so, until next week, stay classy, Choctaw.